It's Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. Fellas, we are back. It's been a bit since the three of us ran one. Holidays, schedules getting in the way. We've been podcasting for this whole month. We've done some Thanksgiving stuff, some Christmas stuff, instant analysis of this amazing run of Ravens football. But good to have the boys back with me, Banks and Arditti, as we head into 2024. Fellas, how we feeling?
I mean, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What could be better? We didn't get the opportunity to really chat about the big W on Sunday. Nor did you make the post game, Taylor, for Christmas?
I was on there. I was on the 49ers. Yes.
Things were it was a bit late that night.
We were up late.
But I mean, shellacking out there on multiple occasions of good teams. It's the 2019 vibes are high, and there's going to be a lot of discussion about the shell shock nature of how that played out and everything. A lot of rest discussions, but it's good. It's a good place to be in that position where you can talk about these things. That you could talk about, hey, people are coming for us. We're top of the mountain. We get to kick back and do nothing this week. I mean, we could very well just fuck around and have Tyler Huntley knock the Steelers out of playoffs, or we could just kind of fuck around and let them win and let them think that they're got something going there in Pittsburgh when they so clearly do not. They don't have anything going in the short or long term. They are going nowhere fast. So great place to be. It's a great place to be.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't really react after the New Year's Eve affair with so many things going on. Spenny jumped on and did a kind of a one-man review. But what a win. What a couple weeks of what we talked about was going to be a gauntlet, and they just ran through it about as easily as you could run through those two teams. I don't think anyone in their wildest dreams would have thought they could have won those two games that convincingly. And it couldn't be more exciting. It's almost like where we were at the end of Orioles season, where it was like, God, just get us to the playoffs and hope that this like sort of magical ride continues. With the Ravens, it's a little different because it's expected and it's more consistent. But to have 2 1 seeds in this city in 1 year is pretty incredible and fairly unprecedented. So it was a bit of a whirlwind. My week was spent watching a lot of Maryland football in a bull week. So I was like not even locked into the Ravens, and then just like getting back from Nashville and just watching them shellac the Dolphins. Cannot wait to watch that episode of Hard Knocks where they break that one down. Was sick. It was an amazing win and an amazing day. RDT, you're obviously not coming from the Ravens fan perspective, but what are you seeing in this team right now?
I mean, I've been making a lot of money on them recently. I bet them -9.5. Like going into I was just like, they're gonna kill the Dolphins. Like I was like, I don't see a world where like the Dolphins compete in this game. And obviously it was close early on. But yeah, they're very good. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. Like I've openly told people, being like, I think they're going to win it. They're by far the best team. I mean, again, you look at what they've done to, I mean, I don't know who you want to say the third best team in football is. The Dolphins, the people toss around the Bills. But what they've done the last 2 weeks against, like you said, the gauntlet and those two teams. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better. But yeah, they're playing awesome football right now. Again, it's like, and it's dangerous because like they're having fun and like Lamar's out there like dicking around, pretending like he's a lefty and then just casually tossing 75-yard touchdown passes. Like it's very scary. And I forget who it was. Someone was on Glenn Clark today and they said something about how like, yeah, the 2019 team was fun, but nobody was really afraid of them. He was like, I think people are afraid of this team. And I was like, I think people were terribly afraid of it.
Yeah,
I was like, taken back by that.
Touching on a topic that I've been just kind of bubbling on because in talking with Jake and Spencer on one of these podcasts the last couple weeks, it's been stewing in my mind. There has been a tremendous amount of revisionist history when it comes to 2019, both in the nature of just how freaking good that team was and the way they dominated, and also in just how like, gosh, everyone obviously looks back and says that team was flawed, and sure enough, on one night they were flawed and nothing went right for them. But at the same time, like I would run that team back and give them another shot all over again if I could. Like they were that good, and they were record-setting good. They had a top 10 point differential in NFL history all these DVOA statistics that we're seeing this year, they were right there in a similar boat. Like there's a lot of some similarities, but clearly some differences between these two teams. But gosh, are we just acting like they didn't romp a good Rams team by a bajillion on Monday Night Football and a pretty good Texans team in that same run? I'm going off the top of my head here. Like they
49ers too, right?
opened the year. They beat them in a rainy final last second field goal, but that was the big one. That was like
Then after that they didn't carry over. They beat Buffalo, who went to the playoffs on the road.
Mm-hmm.
The week after the 49ers game.
And was that that was the Patriots year, right? The Sunday Night Football.
Yes,
I think so. Right?
Yeah.
And
they were like 9-0 going in that game, I think.
I think
like,
so, or
they
something.
Beat tons of teams and good teams by a lot. And like the point differential, like I said, they were like plus 248 or something.
They were 8-0. They were 8-0 going
something
into
in that. Yeah. They ran out their scrubs against the Steelers, who had a chance at making the playoffs at that point in the final week. And RG3 just kind of just moseyed his way through their defense, and they beat him like 28-10. Like it was
that was the gross.
They were insanely good, and to suggest that like that team wasn't terrifying and they weren't capable of winning in the Super Bowl that year just because that's not how it played out is just insane revisionist history in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But and I couldn't agree more. I don't understand it. I think people are, maybe there's a like trying to protect yourself from the prior feeling. The devastation over the Titans loss was because it was so unbelievably unexpected. Mm-hmm. I think everyone was sitting there thinking like, oh, well, I mean, maybe it'll end when they get to the AFC Championship game because you'd have to go through someone like Mahomes. But nobody thought they were losing that game. I mean, it was considered like a not at least in my recollection, it considered a non-starter that they were even going to come close to losing. They had wrecked everybody. They hadn't lost in 2 months. Now maybe there's a thought that this team, because of the physicality on the defensive side, brings like a different attitude than that team that felt almost like a run and gun college team that was just like rolling out there and just destroying teams offensively. Had a pretty good defense too, not as good as this defense. And maybe that's the thought, that this is a little more built to last because of that thing. But yeah, I agree with you, Banks. I don't understand the thought that it's like, oh my God, that 2019 team. I mean, it went 14-2 in the NFL. It's like, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do.
The full quote from Cameron Wolf, who I think is NFL Network. Yeah, NFL Network.
I believe that's right. Yeah.
He said, "I think of how fun 19 was, but I don't think anyone was scared of that team. You were scared of this team. They didn't have Kyle Hamilton, still slowed Tyreek Hill a lot, been without Mark Andrews. Now Lamar Jackson is more mature." Again, I would argue that people were more scared of the 2019 team than this team. And like, it's not taking away anything from this team. Like, I mean, Lamar was the scariest. He was Michael Vick back then. Like, he was prime Vick. Like, what do we? That quote made me read it like 4 times to make sure I was reading it the right way. I don't understand that at all. And I'm with you guys. And again, I think people are still scarred and scared from that Titans game. But again, it's like, I think this team is by far and away the best team in football. I think the defense, again, is much better this year than it's been in the past years. And I mean, you can, that's Agent Zero right there in the middle, as what's his name was calling him. A lot to do with Roquan. But again, Kyle Hamilton's arguably the best safety in football. And even without Marlon Humphrey the last couple of weeks, like, they're still just running a train on teams. Like, no, these games aren't close. Take away from the Rams game and a couple of those others, but they're physically just beating the hell out of what going into it, tough teams. Like the 49ers are like that tough. You don't want to get in a dogfight with them. And the Ravens got in a dogfight with them on Christmas night in their house and absolutely embarrassed them. Like, it just put them to bed very early.
Now, I do think if they, and this is where we hope things play out this way, if they play the 49ers again in the Super Bowl, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a hell of a football game. Like, we punked them in some of the similar ways that the Titans punked us in the playoffs game. Like, that was not the 49ers night. It wasn't. And we played a great game, and that's credit to us. But I also don't think that we should, like, yes, we've earned the right to call ourselves the number 1 team in the league, and we probably are, but I do think that the margin between them and the Niners is much closer than when we saw that night. But another piece of that too is that, listen, Lamar Jackson has progressed as a passer since 2019, but and this happens almost every year, like when he's gotten off to some good starts throwing the ball in September, where people are like, oh, finally he's progressing as a pocket passer. And it's like, what are we talking about? Like he threw it all over the yard in 2019. There are some throws that he's making now that or some reads, and there's some extra pieces and I don't know, just things in his bag that maybe he didn't then, but there's just, I feel like there's just crazy town about that 2019, both for the team as a whole, but also Lamar. I mean, look, compare the 2 years, and I know that the statistics are a hot button issue this season, so not to lean on the statistics too much, but if you look at them, you look at 2019 by Lamar and 2023 Lamar, 2 MVP seasons, but the 2019 season was better. Like his numbers were better. You go and watch the games, the way he dominated, and maybe that's a testament to the idea that the team leaned on him even more than they have this season. But it just comes back to the point again that we have brainwashed ourselves as a protection mechanism for how that team kind of melted in the playoffs.
Yeah, so it's
like our memories have just been warped to not believe that team was special because they just didn't win at all.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, again, for as good as Lamar was in 2019, like he was just such a dual threat back then. And now again, you're seeing it like, oh, he doesn't have the touchdowns, and he's not rushing. He doesn't have the rushing touchdowns that he had to. It's like, well, yeah, and Gus has what, 14 touchdowns now, a ton at the goal line and all that. But yeah, it's crazy. And again, for me being on the outside looking in, where I'm just, this team looks very good. And then again, but I understand why people are like hesitant to crown them or to say this or say that, or, say that they're going to go here. But I think they're sitting in a very good position. Again, the AFC is as weak as it's been a long, long time. I mean, again, nothing against the Bills, but like, why do we just think that they're going to magically like keep turning it on? Like, again, they haven't looked great in a while. You see what the Dolphins have. What happens to the Dolphins if you punch them in the face? And Mahomes, I mean, God knows what the Chiefs are going to do if your girls out there working overtime, fucking, sabotaging the offense the inside out. So I think the AFC is wide open, but I think they're by far the favorites in the AFC. Have to be.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that they are ascending at a rapid rate as some of these other teams fall off a bit. Obviously, the Chiefs thing is the major factor. And let me get out ahead of this. This narrative about Taylor Swift, killing the Chiefs is just horrible. I mean, maybe go sign a receiver worth his salt out there to go help out your guy Mahomes. Like, maybe find anybody. Maybe don't trade Tyreek Hill. Hey, maybe having it's so funny. Maybe having a great receiver means something. Maybe that means something. I don't know. For Mr. Mahomes,
they didn't want to pay.
By the way, will it flip on Mr. Mahomes from sort of like unimpeachable, like good dude, seemingly, even with the family stuff, the antics on the sideline and things like that. I think people will be interested to see how people grow tired. He's also on 14 commercials a break every time you watch the NFL, which makes everyone hate people when you're on too many commercials.
Him and Travis Pfizer, they're all over.
Oh my! Going down to you and your boy Rodgers are going to talk later about that one.
Yeah, probably.
But no, they're as you said, Arditti. I think like anybody else, obviously, like Ravens fans look at this with the scar tissue from 2019 and not trying to get their hopes maybe too far up because of how that ended. The last time they seemingly had a juggernaut team. But I think if you're from another fan base here and you're looking in, this team looks like the best team in the NFL. I do agree with you, Banks. I don't think the margin is as big between them and the 49ers as we saw. That is a really, really good team and a really, really well-coached team that I think would be an amazing matchup in the Super Bowl if those teams rematched.
Yeah. I mean, Super Bowl odds, this is a testament to the strength of the two conferences, but the 49ers are plus 225 and the Ravens are plus 325. So it's interesting.
You look at the NFC right now and it's hard to find a team that you think goes into San Francisco and beats them in the?
I don't hate the Cowboys doing it, to be honest.
Oh my!
If there's a
I
team,
know
I
they've
think
I know they've gotten it handed to them already, but I'm just saying.
I mean, absolutely sign me up for that game in the NFC Championship game. Fox would be
100%.
drooling over that game.
They should bring a who's who on each sideline. Like, just bring Steve Young on one side, Michael Irvin on the other. Just, have them do the coin toss.
Oh my God. He's so good.
Now, I don't know if you guys have talked about this or on the jumbo set or anything, but it's almost like there's also that big bad like boogeyman like over all the Ravens fans' shoulders, and it's January Joe. Like it's the Browns. It's the Browns.
I've been trying to figure out when the right time is to write this blog, but the title of the blog will be "I'm absolutely terrified of Joe Flacco."
It's something that has to be discussed. I think it has to be.
I mean, the way he's been slinging it has been pretty unmatched in any part of his career besides 2011 playoffs, 2012 playoffs.
Well, did you hear there was
Buccaneers first quarter?
There was someone on Twitter. This kid must have been like 16 because he retweeted it and was like, Flacco's never shown this much zip on the ball like in his career. And he's a Ravens fan. And there was someone who was just like, tell us you weren't around for 2011, 2012 without telling us. Like, because again, it's like he did this, he's done it before. We've seen him. Like, you've seen what happens when he gets hot. But it's not like, that's why this is not a shock to anyone around here. It's like, this was the Flacco time to heat up. He's been on the back burner for what, 11 years. He hasn't played like this.
I need someone in the media to do the Joe Flacco versus DeMar Hamlin comeback player of the year debate. I need that.
It was done on Mostly Sports this whole like last week, and it should be Flacco.
It's an insane return to form. I can't remember the last thing like this. He was essentially out of the league.
So I was in the semifinals of a fantasy matchup, and the guy I was going against started Tommy DeVito over Flacco. And I remember texting him being like, I can't believe you started Tommy DeVito over Flacco. And I said, imagine me saying this sentence 8 weeks ago. You would have had no clue what I was saying. Like, no clue. And again, it's like it was a legitimate question. And you've never seen someone like be out of, he was out of football for what? For 10 weeks? Or not 10 weeks, but he missed.
It's fascinating too, because sometimes it's just, you think about how teams just way overthink things. Like look at that roster over there, Cleveland, even with the decimated pieces that they've lost and everything. But look at the formula of what they have everywhere other than the quarterback position. And then just think of like, wait, who would mesh really well with this? Nobody better than Flacco for that. Like,
he has a big, strong wide receiver in Amari Cooper. He has like a little kind of fast guy in Elijah Moore.
Competent offensive line.
A good running game, like I would say good running game with Ford, and then
obviously a remarkably good defense.
Very like athletic. I guess he never really had the athletic tight end. I wouldn't say Pitto was athletic. Dixon, no. But
Pitto was more athletic. But
Njoku has turned into. He's been incredible since Flacco came, and it's like, of course Flacco has a great connection. Right at feeds the ball. Of course he does.
Like, I get you wanna you draft a DTR and you want to see what you got there, and they saw what they got in like week 3 or 4. Granted, against a good Baltimore defense, but I just don't know how Joe Flacco is so far down your call list. And all these other teams too. Like, honestly, the Jets they've got a good roster too. I don't know how they had him in the building.
I can't necessarily blame these teams for not signing Joe Flacco. Did he look totally washed with the Jets? No. Did he look like a guy that could do this? He has not. He's looked okay at times as the Jets backup.
Well, that's all you need for those teams.
But I'm saying, I think if you're the Jets, you're like, well, are we going to hold him as our third quarterback? We're not getting rid of Zach Wilson. Theoretically, we could keep him around and you maybe hope that he becomes something solid after you do the whole Rodgers thing. of all the things the Jets have done, I wouldn't necessarily blame them for that. I do agree with you that there are some backup quarterbacks around the league that you watch and you're like, why was Joe Flacco not on a team? Like guys coming into the game. Like, why is Joe Flacco not in the Easton Stick spot? Why is Easton Stick the backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Aiden
LA?
O'Connell.
I mean, that team's wasn't. Once they got to Stick, it was over for them. But you
Well,
look
sure,
at
but I'm saying,
Minnesota,
but what?
like Minnesota maybe.
But what if
like,
he's?
Mhm.
What if they were in? What if Herbert did what he was supposed to do and they were actually good and they had a competent coach?
God, if
And they were in
Flacco
the
could
spot where they
throw it
should
up to Justin Jefferson, it would be over.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like what? Yeah, like why are they putting out the dude from BYU and Nick Mullins? I don't totally get it on some fronts. Like there's
It's just like if the strategy is to salvage your year and try to make something of it, or at least hold it together until you can get your guy back on the field, then like Joe Flacco should have been your guy. But
Who's the
It
last
was-
good
it was-
BYU quarterback?
it was Josh Dobbs for two teams. The Cardinals did it with Josh Dobbs, and then they traded with the Vikings, and the Vikings
yeah,
attempted to
that
do it
was
with Josh
crazy.
Dobbs.
Steve Young.
Who was that?
Was there anybody more recent than Steve Young?
John Beck.
You know who he looks better
Detmer?
right now? Man, he looks better than Tannehill right
Yeah.
now.
Tannehill's awful. I was telling you guys that months ago. He stinks.
So-
He stinks. But I would have taken him as a backup to Levis. Sure, bring him down there. Him and Morgan Cox could hang out.
So right now the Browns,
out.
and I kind of presume they're going to beat the Bengals in this game. If they would get the 5 seed,
Oh no, the Browns are already locked in the 5 seed.
they're locked in. Okay.
They're locked in. Yeah.
So their path to Baltimore. Oh, this would be unbelievable. They're going to beat the Jags.
Well, yeah, they beat the Jags, but like if the Bills end up
Beating
losing
the Chiefs.
on to Miami, then they're a weapon to beat somebody. And then honestly, whoever the AFC East wildcard representative is going to have a good crack at beating Kansas City, or there's a chance the Bills fall to the 7 seed, in which they would play
Beat Miami.
Yeah, they would just
Yeah, they were
have
playing
at it again.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I cannot even imagine the wildness of watching Joe Flacco at M&T Bank Stadium play the Ravens in the divisional playoffs. I can't imagine he's getting them all the way to the AFC Championship game, but who knows?
We've seen crazier stuff happen.
Yeah. What an incredible NFC Championship weekend it would be. Browns, Ravens, Cleveland's taken team with the former quarterback from Baltimore, and then right after Cowboys, 49ers. That would be tremendous. I mean, storylines abound.
Well, it's also Orioles Caravan weekend that weekend too.
Sure.
I've looked. AFC has the 3:00 game on
They do.
Championship
Yep.
Sunday.
Yes, they do.
So
Yeah, I feel like that's always for the most part.
definitely not looking ahead at all.
No, it flips every year. It flips every year.
Yeah, they rotate it.
Yep. Somebody will. Who do you think? We'll do this when the playoff games come out. We probably won't pod before the match are announced. Who gets the 8:15 Peacock game will be very entertaining. And you would think, here are the current matchups: Dolphins, Colts, Chiefs, Bills, Jags, Browns, Cowboys, Packers, Lions, Rams, and Bucks, Eagles. I think it's going to be Jags, Browns.
Could
I
be,
think it's gonna be Big Joe on Peacock, because that's going to be the worst game. I would think the Peacock game is going to be the worst.
Where's the Peacock game? Which slot is that?
It's 8:15 Saturday.
Did they take away the 4:30 game because they moved the? What's the first Saturday game?
It's 4:30 on NBC, then 8:15 on Peacock, then Sunday is 1 p.m. on CBS or Fox, 4:30 on CBS or Fox.
Gosh, if the Texans get in, they get that 4:30 slot. It's just
And then 8:15 on NBC. NBC has 3 games, and then there's a then the Monday Night Football wildcard game as well.
I mean, these matchups are not like Indy Miami could be awful if that's what it turns out to be.
Yeah, I mean that could also go on Peacock for sure. Yeah.
Ugh.
But the NFL normally sticks the Jags in a bad spot.
Yeah, they were the game last year. Wasn't that the 8:15 last year with Michaels calling the game like he was
Correct.
sleeping.
Correct. So,
Hmm.
and if you look at if this holds like this, I mean, Chiefs, Bills, and Cowboys, Packers are the two best like name value matchups. But Lions, Rams might be the best game.
Well, yeah, that you're gonna have the storyline with Stafford and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that on Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
I'll be
I think
honest.
that's
The Rams too, I think, are a little bit live in that NFC.
The Rams are good.
Yeah, Matt
Yeah.
Stafford was so impressive here in Baltimore.
He's been good the last few weeks.
Someone
Yeah.
was.
He's
I
good.
forget who was saying. It may have been Spenny. Spenny was like, Stafford's been like the second best quarterback, maybe third best quarterback behind Lamar.
I think he said like top 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, behind Josh Allen, all those guys. But he's been awesome. I mean, he's been real. And I feel like we kind of crapped on them last year, the Rams being like, oh, like draft picks and blah blah blah, the cap room and all this and that. And it's like, yeah, they're kind of back now. Like their offense is really good. Their running back's insane. Their wide receivers are very good, and Stafford, future Hall of Famer, is just fucking slinging it around out there.
We'll finish our Ravens discussion on this. Does it kind of stink that it doesn't really because you have the bye, but this Steelers game would be fun if the Ravens were actually playing at full strength and just pop the Steelers team.
Yeah, if they like just had to win it, and even if they lost it, there were some scenarios where they could still get that 1 seed, but it incentivized them enough to just kick a bad team when they're down, or like it would be nice to take that away from them, but that's just not the case. And the reasons why are great. So
yeah, 4:30 Saturday,
if
ESPN.
If we would have got the snow, too, it doesn't sound like we're gonna get the snow now. It sounds like it's just gonna be rain, but that would have been like a very cool visual.
Yeah,
like
it'll be later too.
Again. And I think because Lamar, I was reading, I forget who tweeted it, but Lamar's only made once. He's only played against the Steelers once at home. And I think they lost that game. I think 28-24 they lost.
The other stat that people are going to love to just keep this one going, but because he's not playing on Saturday, he still has not played a full season.
Played a full season.
Yeah.
Guy can't stay healthy. I mean, I don't know what you want. He'll never be Cal. I think we can say that. Does anyone want to address the story that Spenny broke today, or do we leave that?
I gotta be honest. I didn't. I saw you guys texting about this entire thing. I did not really follow it.
Oh, you didn't see this?
No, I saw what he did. I didn't follow the conjecture.
Did.
I saw what he did.
It has blown up. Like there was a response to it that had 25,000 likes on it. Like. It's on the Hurdles like Instagram account. Do you know that account Hurdles and stuff? Like,
yeah, this is one of those things where it's like somebody was gonna do it, and I'm glad that Spencer got out in front of it and shot his shot super early because it was gonna happen. And he did it well. He executed it better than just about anybody probably could have. Did some proper research with the Spirit of Baltimore and got the picture going, and hit up a couple people that we have in our circle that can do the photo edit. So
the 2 photos he has are very funny. If you know anything about the Spirit of Baltimore.
Well, it's also just funny that like nobody like there are people.
You made me laugh with the automatic paper towel dispensers. That made me laugh.
My favorite part was apparently this is not the first time Beckham was rented out a boat ahead of the NFL playoffs.
So good.
For him.
I love that for him.
6.9 million impressions.
Love that for him. Do you want to talk Ravens Pro Bowlers too? Since that's all over my Twitter timeline.
Just saw those. Read them off. Eric.
Let me see. This is where's the list? I just saw it. Dang it. Lamar, Tyler Linderbaum, Justin Madubuike, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Kyle Hamilton, Justin Tucker. Notable snubs. This is from Jonah Schaefer. Said notable snubs. Ricard Zeitler and Geno Stone. It's kind of crazy Geno didn't make it.
The Geno Stone thing has dissipated a bit over the last.
Yeah, he got hot. I mean, he was hot early. I'm kind of surprised Tucker made it. He hasn't had his the normal year, and we've seen it.
I think he's just always going to make the Pro Bowl at this point.
He'll win the fan vote regardless. Like Cameron,
it's like when you're a baseball player and you make it 19 times, you're just making it.
Tua, Lamar, Mahomes, Purdy, Dak, and Stafford as the quarterback. Again, I don't even know the Pro Bowl games, whatever they're going to do. So we can watch Lamar play like dodgeball or limbo, or I guess not.
Also, not taking you. I don't want to take anything away from Geno Smith. He's had Geno Smith. Geno Stone. He's had a great year. It's just doesn't have the name value. It's not like it just not enough people know who he is. So it's kind of is what it is.
You go, Luke Jones. Roquan Smith is the only one of the Ravens 7 Pro Bowlers who isn't homegrown. It's pretty crazy too.
Yeah,
that is cool. Good for him. Again, good for guys like Matabike. Again, it's
gotta. I would love to know how the players feel about the Pro Bowl games, because if you're a player like Matabike, you probably want to like play in the game. No, you don't want to play in the game because you want to play in the Super Bowl, but like you would want to go there and like actually play in the game. Whereas maybe if you're someone like Tucker or Lamar, you're like, well, whatever.
Well,
but if you've never been there before,
if it was in Hawaii, still absolutely. Where is it? Vegas or is it Orlando?
Yeah, I think it was in Vegas last year.
Yeah, it's like
everything.
These guys are.
We're gonna have the podcast.
Like the one they did it in Orlando.
Yeah,
nobody wants to go to Orlando. But I hear it would be a cool experience because again, you always hear those stories about like Ray Lewis at the Pro Bowl and the recruiting and all the shit that goes on down there. But again, I mean, if it's in Hawaii, you're gonna take your family out there for a week and have a good time. But here, in Orlando or Vegas, it's like, sure, we'll go do it. But again, kind of cool for those guys. So. Big stuff.
Yeah. And that sounds about right. I think that's like the amount of Pro Bowlers the Ravens deserved. I'm sure there'll be a ton of conjecture. And then I'm sure 60 people will drop out. And they'll get named to it. Or hopefully they won't get named to it because they'll be playing for the ultimate prize. Let's get to our starting 5 draft presented by FedThrill. You can use the promo code EXIT52 at checkout to get a discount on all of your FedThrill sunglasses. Tons of local styles, a locally grown business. We love our partnership with FedThrill, so make sure to check them out. FedThrill.com. Use the promo code EXIT52. Longtime listeners of this podcast will know how much me and Mr. Banks love the darts. And the World Darts Championships just concluded today with cool hand Louque Humphreys defeating 16-year-old sensation Louque the Nuke Littler. In a really, really good match that I had the pleasure of watching this afternoon. Littler has been the story of the tournament. 16 years old is insanely young to be getting this far in darts. I think our good friend, Mr. Alex Carroll, was saying that he can be the youngest player to win the World's Darts Championship for the next 7 years. Yep. He can break the record for the next 7 years. So he is very entertaining, but Mr. Humphreys, who has now won the last 4 darts majors, gets it done. So an all-England final. But Littler's taking the darts world by storm, and it got us thinking to draft prodigies in our starting 5 draft presented by FedThrill. Before we get there, Banks, any final thoughts on the World Darts Championships?
I mean, Rockstar Joe Cullen's got to get it done there. Louque Humphreys was on the ropes on multiple occasions and multiple matches in the tournament. But yeah, I mean, no real iconic moments other than him, Cullen and Humphreys in the quarterfinals, just going tit for tat on who could just not make a double to win a very key leg in the match. But really no iconic moments. So really the takeaway here is the arrival of Louque Littler. I mean, just an absolute savage, just fills it up. I love the way he absolutely fires the darts. Like, he is not
pounds the darts into the board.
Pray for that board, man.
Yeah.
That treble 20 just gets
the treble 20 was getting shredded today in the final.
Yeah. It's good darts. Yeah. And it's always amazing to watch the progression of just the difference between some of those first round matches, the quality of play, and then when you get to probably about that final 8 or so, maybe final 4, where the level of play is just extraordinary. I mean, just 12 and 13 dart legs left and right. It's just incredible. Yeah. Love the darts. What's not to like?
Yeah, we love the darts. You're right. Littler is the clear storyline of the tournament. There were not as many like great back and forth matches as there've been. There were some good ones, not as many great ones. The semifinals underwhelmed a little bit. Van Gerwen got knocked out early in a kind of underwhelming fashion. Wasn't like unbelievably entertaining. He was just kind of off. Yeah, Peter Wright. Some of the big dogs were out early. You had some unexciting guys in there late, like Chizzy Chisnell, who will just never get it done at this. Who's getting his front room fixed, so he can't practice. Which is
But people said the same about Luke Humphreys. Oh,
yeah,
this guy doesn't have what it takes.
Which is an incredible story. Dave Chisnell is like one of the top 12 or 13 seeds. Had a quote that came up before the tournament that he hasn't been able to practice because he's getting his front room redone, which is just unbelievable and just tells you it's just why we love the darts. There's just nothing quite like the darts. I'm very sad when the World Darts Championship goes away. It's on all year, but this is just an amazing period when it is on because it's over the holidays, so people have maybe a little more free time to watch it. I still think us in our group, needs to figure out a better way to follow this all during the year, but it's almost fun to not follow it really that much at all, and then for it to just come up in December. It's
yeah.
So maybe that will always be
we kind of showed up in early December and looked at the board and we're like, what the fuck is Cool Hand Luke doing as the tournament favorite?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What happened?
Yeah. Like, where'd this guy come from?
Did I read correctly? His girlfriend is 21.
Littler?
Yeah.
Met online. Interesting.
He
also looks like he's about 35.
Oh, he's not 16. Like, he's not. He's just not. But
so he's unbelievable though.
I got to give it to Chief. Had a great tweet about him. He said this guy definitely has a mortgage, 2 kids, and a sexless marriage.
he just doesn't look 16.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. There was a clip of him having a 9-dart finish at 14. And he looks about 20 years older than the kid he's playing, who actually looks 14. And
I love those like those like middle of the year matches that are just not even in an arena or anything. They're just like they could just be in the back closet of the Red Lobster down the street. Like
exactly.
They just broadcast in a room in the back.
It's such an amazing sport. It's just such an amazing sport. So shout out to the darts, but we will draft prodigies. Let me randomize our draft order. And by the way, anybody that wants to get into the darts, very watchable stuff. It just goes quick. There's not a ton of commercials. They're after each set. You essentially know when they're coming.
The learning curve is not that big. You just got to understand how the math works. And then once you kind of learn the basics, you start to your mind starts to kind of spin in terms of like, ooh, that's why he did that. That's why he did that. Oh, that was cool. Like, God, finally we got a Bull 16.
I love the Bull so much.
Anyways, sorry.
No, you're good. I have the first pick. Banks Arditti has the second pick. Banks, you have the third pick. The other thing is it makes you want to play, which then you just have it as a bar game, but you're just much more interested in playing.
It's just so doable too.
Yeah, it makes.
I watch golf tournaments all the time, and it's like I can't just go out and play, fucking Aaron Hills, like
but you get an app,
I can throw darts, like
you get an app, you play 501 or you play cricket or whatever. Darts is great. It's great. Okay. I have the first pick. Pretty easy one for me here to go with. I'm taking Tiger Woods.
Figured.
Yeah. Don't really know if I need to go into the prodigy making of Tiger Woods. Swing on a golf club on national TV when he was like 3 years old. Thought it all.
Read the Armin Katayan book.
Yes.
His father put him in a little crib and hit golf balls in front of him every single night. And they say that just imprinted in his brain just at a very young developmental age that he just the sound of a golf ball hitting a club, like all these things were just ingrained in his brain. The OG helicopter father.
Yeah. There's someone else in this list that might be older than him, but yes, very much in the OG helicopter father, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Arditti
had to be the number one pick. This one's probably not a surprise either. I'm going LeBron.
Knew that was happening.
Yeah. Again, that I feel like this tweet goes viral like every couple months, where like the picture of LeBron when he was like 2 with the basketball hoop, and someone retweets it and said, "Oh, LeBron's mom had the best ROI on out of anyone ever with this basketball hoop," and then I think it turned out pretty well for them. And again, we're in, I don't know, year, what is it, 2021? He's been so damn good. I don't even know. But again, I know he just turned 38. Him and we'll have to do like a Mount Rushmore of like birthday pairs because him and Tiger having the same birthday is incredible.
It is pretty wild.
That's insane. They're two of the best that have ever done it in any sport in history. So yeah, LeBron, clear number one for me for Prodigy.
Bank shift too.
I'm curious. Should I do that?
Do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take two local picks here. I'm gonna start off with all-time guy, coaches down the street nowadays, Freddie Adu.
Mm-hmm.
Big time
yes.
Prodigy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I had to have Freddie. I think
my
it was called
list.
the Heights School. That was pretty close to me in Montgomery County. I mean, what did he make? Like, what team did he make at what age?
Made
It
DC.
He's playing for DC United at 14.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, that's insane in itself. But wasn't there like a national team that he was like
He was playing
U17 team at age 12 or something?
Yeah, I think he played up. I think he was playing up 2 age groups like for his entire youth career. So he's playing like he was in the U20 World Cup, I think at like 16 or 7 at like 16, which is pretty rare. 15.
Gotcha. Sure.
On a good U20 World Cup team. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast remember that run into the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
How can you
And
forget?
just there for a couple of years, the outrage when the World Cup team was released, Nate would nail this every year or every 4 years with the Freddie Adu got snubbed on the
No Freddie.
But anyways, I'm going Michael Phelps with the next pick. It's an easy one.
Yeah.
Reached the Olympics at age 15. Although he didn't medal in those Olympics, but definitely lived up to the hype and delivered in a big way from there on out.
Just to close the book on Freddie Adu, he's a classic case of someone that, because of their hype, it doesn't get recognized that the guy had a very good soccer career. Like he played for his national team 20 times, played in MLS, he played overseas, like he bounced around a bunch and he certainly could have been better, but if he's not a giant prodigy, it's like, oh, that guy was pretty good at soccer. Good for him. Instead, it's like just a gigantic bust. Sorry, Fred. And Phelps, I mean, yeah, not much more to say about
Phelps,
that. Everyone knows that story.
Now he's doing introductions to the World Series, and was it the Christmas game? What football? Didn't he just do an introduction for the football game? I think it was the 49ers Ravens, right? I thought he did
Phelps like the intro. Yeah, he did like the NBC intro on Christmas night, I think.
Yeah, and then he did it for the Diamondbacks, or he came out and threw out the first pitch for them or something like that, because I think he lives in Arizona now. I think he coaches for Arizona State. Is that what they were saying?
Bob Bowman, I think, was the coach out there who was his coach, so that would make sense.
Yeah, it's something like that. He's connected to Arizona somehow because he threw out a first pitch, and everyone's like,
by the way, such a perfect team for him to throw out the first pitch for and be a fan for that no Orioles fan would get mad at him for. Like, oh yeah, sure, go out there, man.
I think people were just confused. They were like, wait, what? Who are you? Like, you're an Orioles fan, but
I could see him getting involved in this Michigan thing in the next week. By the way, he's like a Michigan guy, kind of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, he's spread all over.
The Michigan men are going to be all out and about this next 7 days.
Yeah.
7 days. However
long. My next one, I'm going to take Bryce Harper. Again, he was forced in our face throughout the Sports Illustrated. I mean, it's like an iconic cover. Him swinging, and what is it, like 517-foot home run he hit in Vegas over the highway.
I think they called him baseball's LeBron.
Yeah. And again, I mean, he's lived up to it. And I blogged about it during, I think, the NLCS, or I forget what it was. But I don't think any player has done a bigger 180 for me in terms of likability and in the last couple of years, just because I hated Harper when he was on the Nats. I hated him. And I think that just had a lot to do with it. It was the Nats thing. He's perfect for Philly. I mean, he's awesome. Like, you very rarely see a guy embrace a city that he wasn't drafted in. And I mean, he seems like he was just put on this earth to be a Philly with that crowd and, I don't know, the team, and they really just go as he goes. So, but again, I mean, he's been awesome. He's 1 MVP or 2. Does he have 2? think he has one.
One.
Yeah.
One.
But again, I mean, he's put together an unreal career. He's a very good baseball player, and he's just clutch moments. The guy just has it. I mean, he seems to really have it. So I've enjoyed watching him. I haven't enjoyed watching Philly fans get like enjoyment out of it, but I think he's lived up to it. So we're going Bryce.
Good pick. I'm gonna take Michael Jackson. Say what you want about all the other stuff. Absolute prodigy.
What other
was
stuff?
like.
Yeah, what do you mean?
We can talk about that in our Patreon. The guy was a star at like 10. It's like the biggest star in the country. Jackson 5 was just leading his brothers to superstardom, then became the biggest pop star in the world. Couldn't have lived up to the hype more. So I'm taking MJ, the original MJ, some would say. So I'll get him, and then I'll stick in music. I'm taking Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus, my guy. One of the great prodigies of all time. Just playing classical music at like 4 years old. Rises to the top of the charts, or not charts because it was way back in the day, but rises to the top of the significance, then dies at 35. That's kind of how that's the old school child prodigy. Rise early, die young. Shout out to my guy Mozart. Any thoughts on either of those two guys, gentlemen?
Shout out to Mozart.
They certainly are picks.
I mean, you want to see Mozart versus Bryce in a piano contest there, Arditti?
Not really.
My guy Wolfgang's gonna get it done.
That thought never really crossed my mind, but
that's
sure.
why we have this show. Banks.
No, isn't it?
Already back.
Is it me or no?
Oh, sorry, to you. Sorry, we haven't done a draft in about 4 months, so I'm getting back in the swing of it.
I'm following. No. I'm gonna go this guy. I'm going Ken Griffey Jr. Again, a guy who was growing up in locker rooms with his dad playing, and then ends up playing with his dad and turning into and it's crazy because he could have been the best player of all time, and what he end with like 634 career home runs, and he's still like a what if he stayed healthy guy. Like his whole career is like a what if, and he's one of the greatest players of all time. I know it's over 630 home runs, but again, it's like this guy was like, oh yeah, what if he could stay healthy? You know, he's 5th all time in home runs, I believe. Great defender, just an awesome baseball player, and again, he was around the game at a young age and soaked it all up and turned it into a pretty decent career. So I'm taking another baseball guy with Griffey.
Some
Junior
things
Griffey.
I didn't remember about Ken Griffey, and you guys are two bigger baseball guys than me, so maybe this will sound stupid, but hit 30 homers at age 37. Did not remember that.
Is that for the Reds or for
the Reds?
Yeah.
Did not remember that at all. Had 19 homers and 57 RBIs at 39 for Seattle. Did not remember that.
Do you remember when he fell asleep in the clubhouse and then then he retired?
I do remember that.
Tough luck.
And I think the thing that like hurts him is just the lack, and this is obvious, but the lack of a signature playoff moment is just or lack of a signature win for that team, like getting to a World Series and winning it. It's just so sad. None of those Mariners teams ever won anything.
Yeah,
it just sucks. They deserve to have their moment in the sun. He did have a moment. He had a moment, but like getting to the World Series and winning it, just amazing. Those Seattle teams never got it done.
Yeah. And then because I think they traded him before that 0-1 season, I believe, when they won 116. Right?
He was in Cincinnati at that point.
Yeah. And then again, I mean, Cincinnati, they did nothing. But yeah, they had some. I mean, you go back and look at some of those Mariners teams, and they were incredible. Jay Buhner, like. Yeah, another young guy who's maybe on the list, Randy Johnson. You had just studs all around.
Like they never really got anywhere with him on the team.
No.
And
They win one playoff series. I think, and it's him on the bottom of the pile, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. That you talk about. I mean, it's also probably helps that it's Seattle, and I don't think anybody really cares about sports out there. Like they're just like,
they care when the Sonics moved, but.
Yeah, but
they have good fans. The
Seahawks.
The Seahawks fans are great. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the media didn't
Oh,
crush
sure,
it,
sure,
you
sure.
know?
Nationally, yes.
Yeah, they're just
Nationally,
like
there isn't like it. Yeah, yes.
Seattle. It's Seattle. You know, would they just break a 23-year or 22-year like playoff losing streak? No one cares. You know, like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, it definitely would have helped if he had that play. You know, a World Series win or lucked himself into one. But again, he was also just the coolest baseball player ever, the most influential baseball player probably of the. I mean, I don't know, most influential, but the shit that he did, the backwards hat, the shoes, the bat drop, the swing, everything about it, the warehouse. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Super cool player.
Bank shift 2.
I'm going to take Wayne Gretzky. Not that we're old enough to remember when he was obviously a child, but I don't know that a lot of people know just how great he was growing up. Like, he filled it up with 378 goals as a 10-year-old. That's a lot of goals. He played in like the 10-year-old league at age 6, which if you think about kind of the growth phases of children at those
Wow.
ages, it's insane.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah. It should not be allowed. Legally.
Yeah, I mean, just like just absurd statistics throughout his junior hockey career. If there were to be the hype machines in that day and age that there are now, through the roof. And he set the new bar like quickly across the board. He's insane.
Yeah.
Not much
Hard
to
to
add.
argue.
Wayne Gretzky
Yeah.
was unbelievable. The highlights are incredible. He was great. Some would say the great one.
Yeah. And then this is probably a pick that I don't think anybody's going to be surprised to have been taken in this draft. And maybe there's a little bit of room for argument as to whether it qualifies. But I had Taylor Swift coming out in her at age 16 and dropping an absolute heat country album, and then following it up with two just all-time albums, basically having a Hall of Fame career before she turned 21, already in the bag. And then to watch everything she's accumulated from there. There was a lot of hype, and I think sometimes a lot of people can have that debut album and it can be a flash in the pan, but this is definitely not one of those circumstances where she had all the talent in the world. Wrote her own music, was part of the process in every way, and then just followed up with hit after hit for coming up on 2 decades at this point. It's pretty insane.
Told myself I was not going to take Taylor Swift in this draft just because I take her in every draft, but couldn't co-sign the pick anymore.
Sure. Real quick too, I don't know if you guys saw the text message, but Odell Beckham has weighed in on the tweet. Last world we live in where people thrive off these kind of posts and more lames bring attention to shit and get excited about it. And then had another comment and said, "Boo, this shit weak as fuck."
Is this on Instagram or is it on?
Oh, it's on someone aggregating it. It's on an aggregator, yeah, on Instagram.
It's on Sportsville.
Oh, jeez.
That's great. That's so funny. Spenny getting the OBJ commenting on it. That's funny.
That's wild.
What a world. What a world. That damn Spenny, man. What a guy. What a guy.
101.
Yeah. Is it my pick?
Yes.
I am gonna go. Let me see. But I'm gonna take A-Rod. Again, he was kind of like Griffey, just following along. I think he was like the number 1 pick at like 17. He was in the majors by 19. I think he had 30 home runs when he was 19. He was just a freak kid and turned into one of the best baseball players of all time, maybe with or without the help of supplements or whatever, but he was awesome as a kid and growing up. So, and he was just so young. Like, that's the thing. People just don't know how young these guys were. And he was doing it. So
the 20-year-old A-Rod season, 36 homers, 123 RBIs, 54 doubles, /358, 414, 631. That's disgusting. Led the league in batting average. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, good pick there. I have 2 here to finish my team. I'm just gonna take a classic Prodigy. I'm gonna take Bobby Fischer, chess Prodigy, an all-timer, and then just an all-time weird guy afterwards. Not shocking when you're like thrust into the world spotlight at like 9 or 10 years old. Good movie about him. I'm gonna take him. And then I'll take these as a combo pick. I don't think anyone's gonna be too upset about this. I'll take Venus and Serena Williams. If I had to pick one of them, I'll take Serena.
Sure.
Absolute goats. Serena arguably is the actual GOAT. Venus, not too shabby of a career herself. Enjoyed the movie. Wish Will Smith hadn't slapped anybody. Good movie, good performance. Now all that movie gets thought of is for Will Smith slapping somebody, but it's a very, very good movie. And Serena Williams and Venus Williams are two very, very entertaining. Also, Venus Williams is still playing at like 42. Just amazing. So
Is she the one that's married to the Reddit guy?
no, that's Serena.
Serena's.
Yeah.
Dude's from Colombia, too.
Alexa Ohanian or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Williams sisters.
Mm-hmm. They have to be up there.
Yeah.
And who is it? Is it back to me for my last one? Or is it Banks?
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of somebody I should have picked. I'll say them in honorable mentions. Maybe they get picked. Yeah, you have one more, Arditti.
I'm taking Baby Gronk. Kid's gonna be a freak. He's kind of gone now. I think people really caught on to his dad being a piece of shit, but
yeah, the dad. It's just so unshocking that would go not very.
No, I would have bet so much money that was exactly what was happening, and it was. No, Taylor Lewan just like posted something on like Christmas Eve of like Baby Gronk's dad still DMing him, being like, "You bros would you could never guard my son," or something like that. And Taylor was like, "It's Christmas Eve, dude. Like, what are you doing?" It was just so weird. And he was like, "Leave me alone. Like, go spend time with your family, please." So, shout out to Baby Gronk because he'll be back.
Thanks. Finish it off.
Danielle Monte.
Yeah, I had him on my board.
Yeah, all-time prodigy. Guy through smoke. Not sure why he didn't really pan out. He's just mowing kids.
What happened? What happened there?
Yeah, I'm not particularly sure, but
he didn't do anything wrong. His parents did.
Yeah, correct. He did not do anything wrong. By the way, as most kids don't when they get put into.
Didn't do anything. Miguel Tejada didn't.
Oh no, Taylor. I also thought you were going to say something else there.
No.
Okay. I thought you were going to say someone else you picked also didn't do anything wrong, but I was really hoping you didn't. Okay.
No. I will not I will not get dragged through the mud by you. I would never drag you through the mud. I would never. Danielle Monte was just such an incredible moment in time. It was so good. Let me tell you what. If the Little League World Series wants to just do age scandals, that's fun. That's fun entertainment. Just have kids blow through the younger kids. Bang, bang, bang. It was so entertaining.
They should have one kid who's like 16 randomly placed like on a random team, and just like at the end of the tournament, we'll have to figure out who it was. I have a feeling we'll know who, but just randomly place one guy. Like, oh yeah, that's the guy throwing 96 from 43 feet away or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I took Danielle Monte's great. That's a good pick.
I took Tiger Woods, Michael Jackson, Mozart, Bobby Fischer, Williams sisters. Arditti takes LeBron, Bryce Harper, Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod, and Baby Gronk. And Banks takes Freddie Adu, Michael Phelps, Wayne Gretzky, Taylor Swift, and Danielle Monte. I'm upset I didn't take Shaun White. That came to my head right as I took the Williams sisters. Shaun White was an absolute stud. I didn't think also of skateboarders, which there are a few that could be in there. You're Ryan Sheckler, some of those guys.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Yeah.
Flying tomato, Mountain Dew, baby.
Yeah, Mountain Baby. The flying. It's upset. I'm really upset. I would honestly like to retroactively Flying Tomato.
I just love that video so much.
Yeah. We're drinking Mountain Dews, baby. That is one of the all-time great interview moments.
I'm talking Mountain Dews, baby.
So good. Other people I had on my list. Sidney Crosby was never going to take him, but I had him on there. Stevie Wonder. Tara Lipinski.
Prodigy?
Yeah.
Tara
Lipinski.
I met her. I had her on my list.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, you could do a lot of like. It's hard to do like the gymnast. Like you could do like a Nadia Comaneci, But like all the people that are great were like 16, 17, 18. So it's like
what about like a Noah Eagle? Honorable mention.
Ooh,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. Love No Eagle.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Guy's very, very good. Very, very good. Nice guy. Met him when they called the game. He called the game here last year. Good dude. Good pals with my friend and hater of this podcast, Jake Spitz. So he'll never hear this, Mr. Spitz, that we're pumping up his guy, but we are in fact pumping up his guy. I was trying to think of outside of sports, like that type of. Remember the guy that made the cut at the Masters at 14?
Oh, I actually had him, and I was continuing to research, and I like forgot about him. I was
Whatever happened to him?
Nothing, man.
Really?
14-year-old makes the cut at the Masters. Well, how does a 14-year-old even get in the Masters? That's
how did he win
in itself.
How did he win the
It may have been the
Amateur?
first year they gave a spot to like the Pan American Amateur.
It's the Asia
Championship.
Pacific Amateur. It's
Asia
the Asia
Pacific,
Pacific,
that one. Yeah.
Which I believe is like
on break right
affiliated.
now from college.
It's affiliated with the Masters and the RNA to get someone from that region into the tournament.
Right.
Hideki Matsuyama won it twice, according to this. So
they credited that, like the impetus of that tournament eventually kind of leading to him becoming kind of the Masters champion one day. So
yeah. He was then given a slow play penalty at the PGA Championship.
I can't imagine just a green jacket coming up to him and telling this poor kid.
That is unbelievable. God, and then made the cut at the Zurich. Played for Arizona in college for a little bit.
It's been a little bit.
That's so interesting. Like, what could he
the old job
I wonder
board.
if he's like playing professionally in China. I don't know. Oh, Golf Monthly, a decade on from 14-year-old Guan Tilang's Masters Heroics. Where is he now?
I mean, you could say Michelle Wee. Could have said Michelle Wee too.
Oh, for sure. Michelle Wee, yeah. Lydia
Oh,
Ko.
yeah.
There's some golfers to be had there.
Yeah, definitely. I had Calvin
Michelle
Cambridge.
Wee was a huge story. Oh, Calvin Cambridge, yeah.
He had to be up there.
Yep.
Rowan Gardner.
Sure.
Yeah.
He was flash in the pan, but he had some time. You know, he had a moment.
What about Air Bud?
I was thinking about Air Bud. I just don't know how old he was in dog years.
Yeah,
you know,
good point.
it's like 44 in dog years or 49.
Really, such a sensational point by you.
That clown is an all-time villain.
He is.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I mean, you hated that clown as a kid. I mean, you wanted blood for that clown.
I think he's dead, but I still hate him.
I had so much love for Air Bud. What a dog. What an incredible dog.
I mean, I can't imagine the boost that the pudding brand got from that.
Michael Jeter was that guy's name. He died in 2003.
Any thoughts about Anakin Skywalker?
Wouldn't know.
Fraud.
They're animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. Bad guy. Bad guy. I'm looking for other fictional ones. I didn't even really think fictional ones, but Artemis Fowl. You guys ever read those books? He's a bit of a prodigy.
The Chosen One.
Sid from Toy Story.
The Chosen One. But there's probably a bigger debate. Is the Chosen One
boy who lived? I mean,
he is the boy who lived, and for sure. I would need to get the experts in here. I don't know if I want to have this debate.
I'm not qualified to really have it. But...
Is he a great wizard, or is it just because he survived that thing that makes him notable, or is he a great wizard because he survived the attack because of the love of his parents? I just don't know I just don't know Harry Potter well enough to have this discussion. But I just, that's where I'm at in my head about the Chosen One. I love the Chosen One. Any thoughts there, Arditti? You're not a Harry Potter guy?
I've never seen or read one page, or I haven't seen a second of
one
any
page from a Harry Potter book.
Yeah.
You could make a case for He Who Must Not Be Named as a child, Tom Riddle, Prodigy.
It crossed my mind. I wasn't going to say it, but
sure.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin.
Bad guy.
Sure. By the way, this is going to blow your guys' mind. I just saw Home Alone for the first time in the last 3 weeks.
Wait.
That's never seen it.
Now,
Arditti,
It's just not an
RDT.
honest thing that just came out of your mouth. That was a dishonest comment, and I
Nope.
suggest you
Now,
apologize.
no. It's not. I apologize for not seeing it. I can't take as much stick from RDT. If you've never seen Star Wars, you don't have a lot of legs to stand on here. Everyone.
No. Those are two completely different. Home Alone is on every single day for a month and a half.
Star Wars is on all year,
You watch
all the
those
time.
channels. I've seen Star Wars. Like I've seen the first ones. I just don't remember. I haven't seen them in 25 years.
Yeah,
but
never seen it. Never seen it.
That's
Blame my parents. What about Jimmy Neutron?
Nerd.
I don't know.
What about Dexter?
Ooh, Dexter.
Yeah.
Keep down with Dexter.
Yeah. I'm looking at another Doogie Howser.
Yeah. Could have been Doogie.
Oh, I'll tell you who I'm not giving it to. Young Sheldon. Oh no.
Baby Bob.
Yeah.
Boss Baby.
Oh, the
Definitely
Boss Baby.
Any of the baby geniuses?
Yeah.
It's a great
Any of those baby geniuses. All right. Troy Bolton from High School Musical. Let's move it on here. Nick Cantor Medley, Maryland, Person of the Week. RDT.
Shit, I had one. Fuck, who was I gonna pick? I forget. This is bad. Can I skip and come back?
Absolutely.
Damn it.
I'll go first. I'll go with Maryland football. Toasted Auburn in the Music City Bowl. Wonderful week in Nashville. Yes, bowls are weird now because 600 people opt out of these games, and it's unfortunate, but they were always exhibition games anyway, so what does it really matter? Great performance by the Terps. Billy Edwards, Cam Edge, defense played well. Offense did enough in the first half. Great to beat an SEC team. 3 straight bowl wins. 3 straight bowl wins, Maryland fans. Hasn't happened in a while. In fact, it's never happened. We have won 3 bowls in succession of being in the bowls, but not bowls in 3 straight years. Good job by Mike Loxley. Nice, sustainable success right now. Obviously, they want to take a bigger step than that, but nice to beat teams in bowls for 3 straight years. So, ends the season on a high note. Nashville, amazing city. Nashville gets a secondary part of this entire equation. Never been there. Had never been there. Very, very fun. And Banks and I were talking. This is a city you would love, Brian. So
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. Just hasn't happened for me yet.
Yeah.
Don't want to force it, but I may. It may.
Yeah,
just
it was
happen.
it was the perfect way for me to get down there first. Now I'm like, well, now it's time to like actually plan a trip and go there with other people. So I'll let you guys choose who wants to go next if you have them.
If you're ready, go ahead. But I'm also ready.
I have mine. I'll just spit it off real quick. Fuck, come on. Sorry, hold on. I'm
trying to do a bit
It is Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Tate McBride, Ezekiel Elliott, Colts defense, and Tyler Bass.
Oh
my guys, for coming through. 9-4 championship season. I cannot say my team name. I cannot say the league name. Don't want to get canceled. But those guys did a lot of hard. They played very well. Great performances by Jake Browning the last couple of weeks. So it's a nice cash in my pocket after the holidays. Shout out to Jalen Waddle too. Kyle Pitts can get fucked. Cortland Sutton, Ravens defense was big too. And again, just a lot of those guys. It takes a lot of good guys to win a championship, but it takes a great man to lead them there. So again, I just want to give my guys a shout out for finally coming through and winning this league that I've been in for like 13 years. So now the loser has to host an ice cream party. So we're doing that on January 13th.
Oh, an ice cream party in January. Nice.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. Who doesn't love ice cream?
Okay. Almost like a lead-in, now that you mentioned that. We haven't been on this show. Hey, easy, pal. Haven't been on this show to do this segment in a long time. And probably since the last time we've been able to do it is when so much has changed. It's kind of like a chalky pick, but Lamar Jackson. I mean, the guy's played out of his mind. took a conversation that was the MVP conversation was kind of wide open, kind of Brock Purdy's to lose in mid-December, and he just went and absolutely stole it. Went into the kind of the conversation of like, oh, this is a weird year. Like, I don't know who wants it, who's gonna go get it, and then Lamar just went and got it. Like, he just absolutely tore it up and went and got it and earned it, and he's the straw that stirs the drink. I know that there was tumultuous couple of years. I know I've said a lot of things about that as well. I'm glad he's our quarterback. I'm glad he's here long term, and I'm excited to see where things go here in the coming months. And where it ties back to what you said, Eric, is the reason I lost my fantasy championship game is because Lamar Jackson went the fuck off on me. So kudos to Lamar. Kudos to Fat B for and the Cross Street LMBs for winning our fantasy championship. It was a well-fought battle. It's been a good year. Second place winnings aren't so bad either. And, I'm excited for the Super Bowl run.
It's going to be great. Shout out to the Cross Street LMBs. Huge season for them. Fellas, it was great to get back on the mics with both of you. This trio will get back on a more consistent schedule as we head into the new year. Appreciate everyone's support in 2023. Great year for the podcast. A lot more shows. Some great stuff from Spenny and Jake, who obviously aren't on with us right now, but have done some great things with their shows. Make sure to go listen to the Jumbo Set this week, their weekly deep dive into the Baltimore Ravens. Some fantastic Orioles coverage that we got done with when their playoff run ended, and then hopefully the Ravens stuff just continues. But a great 2023 for the podcast. Very much appreciate everyone's support on that front, and appreciate everyone's support as we head into 2024. I think I can speak for the rest of the four in this show when we say that every time I think someone comes up to us, says hi to us, shoots us a message supporting the podcast, that stuff really means a lot. And hopefully you keep doing it. Hopefully we keep making good stuff that people enjoy. Make sure to follow the podcast at XW2 Podcast on all the social media platforms. You can follow Eric at EDITTI22. I haven't done that in a while.
No.
You can follow Banks at Burstow Banks. You follow me at Taylor Smyth 10. You can follow Jake at Jake Louque. You can follow Spenny at Ravens for Dummies. And boy, is Ravens for Dummies popping off today. So you may want to go check that out right now if you aren't looking at his feed. And we will see you next time on the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy's Seafood.